Hi, I'm Rochelle Travers, and this is the Standard's Tech and Science Daily podcast. Coming up, the underwater robots that could cut carbon emissions drastically. Now, let's get into it. If you're new here, make sure to hit follow.
Coalition forces launched the operation 2 weeks ago against Saddam Hussein. They're taking out as many strategic targets from the air as possible.
Do it.
Weapon free.
Gamers rejoice, because Call of Duty Black Ops 6 is finally here.
I think there's so much excitement around Call of Duty Black Ops 6 because it's the first game that Activision have released since, they were bought by Microsoft for billions of dollars. It's also the first Call of Duty game that is a day one launch on Xbox Game Pass. Previous Call of Duty entries, they've been absolutely massive, but if you want to play, you've got to drop 70 odd quid on the game. This one is a day one launch on Xbox Game Pass, so if you've got the subscription, which I think is around £15 a month, you can try the game out basically.
That's Ali Shutler, freelance culture journalist, who is reviewing the game for The Standard. He's been telling Tech and Science Daily whether or not he thinks it will live up to all the hype. So
I feel like this is going to be one of those games that returning players, new players, someone who's never even played Call of Duty before, they'll be like, I've seen the advertising, I've heard, it's one of the biggest games of all time. I should probably check it out. I think that's really exciting. It should get a real cross-section of the diehard Call of Duty fan base, returning players, who probably, played some of the early games and kind of drifted away because keeping up with multiplayer is intense. It's not for everyone. But also people who've never played the game before. So I think it should be really interesting to kind of see all those different people sort of coming together and experiencing Call of Duty together.
Black Ops 6 was released early this morning in the UK, Friday the 25th of October, and early reactions from around the world have already been coming in, and they're looking extremely positive.
It's only early days for the release of Call of Duty Black Ops 6, but it seems the people are really pleased with it. Obviously, they've done a few sort of preview tests, and a bunch of fans have obviously been playing since it dropped. People have had a chance to kind of dive in early days to the game, and there's a lot of excitement around it. People really seem to think it kind of exceeds what's come before.
Ali has already had a bit of a taste of the game, but most media outlets have not been able to get advanced previews of the full game before its global release. But here's Ali's initial impressions so far.
So I went to a kind of press junket a couple of weeks ago where they had the kind of the multiplayer mode to play through. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. They've introduced this new kind of system called Omni Movement, which basically means that your character is basically an action hero. You can kind of dive in all directions, you can kind of point and shoot in all directions. And yeah, that kind of makes the game a lot more fun because it kind of just opens up the different ways you can play. And basically, I've spoken to kind of developers and the people involved in making the game, and they went into a lot more depth and kind of a bit more techie with it. But basically, it kind of feels like the mission for this game was to kind of really focus on the fun.
The previous game in the franchise, Modern Warfare 3, which came out last year, dabbled with open world elements. But Ali says that true Call of Duty fans want more intensity and urgency, so Black Ops 6 seems to be a return to form.
For the most part, you're very much thrown into the action from the start. The same with zombies as well, which, as the name suggests, see you taking down a zombie invasion. And yeah, the previous one was quite open world. You were kind of exploring these deserted landscapes, kind of hoping a zombie would jump out at you so you could, fire off a headshot. But this one's more round based. So a lot of it is just really focusing on the fun of Black Ops and Call of Duty and kind of that intensity. And because basically you just want to shoot a lot of things, don't you, with Call of Duty games? You don't really want to, adventure and explore. You kind of just want to get into the action, and this one does feel like it feels like an action movie in a lot of ways.
Make sure to read Ali Shutler's full review of Call of Duty Black Ops 6, which will be available on our website standard.co.uk on Monday the 28th. Tech entrepreneur Dean Forbes has been named the most influential black person in Britain. The title was given by the Powerlist 2025 to the chief executive of software solutions firm Fortero. The list recognises the UK's most powerful people of African, African-Caribbean and African-American heritage, and has previously been topped by former editor-in-chief of British Vogue, Edward Enninful, 7-time Formula One world champion Sir Lewis Hamilton, and former children's laureate Mallory Blackman. After hearing the news, Dean said it was an incredible honour. He hopes his story can inspire others from similar backgrounds to believe in their potential and achieve their dreams. Now, UK scientists are developing AI-powered autonomous underwater robots that could transform offshore wind farm maintenance and cut carbon emissions by 97%.
The project is focused around supporting offshore wind. So we are trying to quadruple the amount of offshore wind that we are creating or building between now and 2030. And there isn't enough people to do the inspection that's needed for those new assets. So we're trying to build robots that can do that independently and carry out inspections offshore.
That's David Morrison, Project Manager at the National Robotarium. It's hoped that the robots could perform a wide range of essential maintenance tasks on offshore wind turbines, including taking precise measurements, conducting visual inspections, cleaning structures, and repairing identified defects.
So the idea is that you have a surface vehicle that's autonomous. It deploys a subsea vehicle that is also autonomous and are connected by a cable. The subsea vehicle goes in close to the structure and does inspections. And in some types of inspections, you may need to make contact with a manipulator.
For the underwater robots to achieve the required level of autonomous operation, the project aims to solve the chicken head problem, keeping a robot's arm or tool steady against a structure despite being bashed by currents and waves. To meet this challenge, advanced control systems and machine learning algorithms are being developed to allow the robots to adapt in real time to changing conditions. Here's David explaining the dramatic impact the project could have on carbon emissions.
So the robots that we're using are all electric. So traditional methods use a huge vessel with a lot of people on board, and it transits out from port, and it uses up to 7,000 litres of fuel a day. These electric vehicles with a diesel generator will only use 200 litres, so it's a massive reduction in the amount of carbon that's output.
The innovative technology is currently undergoing trials as part of the Unite project, a programme led by Heriot-Watt University in collaboration with Imperial College London, as well as geodata specialist Frugro and underwater software development expert Frontier Robotics, and supported by the National Robotarium, the UK Centre for Robotics and AI. Let's go to the ads. Coming up, the woman left red-faced when she thought she'd captured the Northern Lights. Welcome back. A surgeon has developed a way to remove brain tumours the size of apples through patients' eyebrows in what's believed to be a world first for the procedure. Aberdeen-based consultant neurosurgeon Anastasios Gayamoridis of NHS Grampian has adapted an existing technique of keyhole surgery to remove tumours, which leaves considerably less scarring than regular craniotomies. The new method also takes far less time to complete, meaning operating teams are less fatigued when the procedure is finally finished. The team have performed the new procedure on 48 patients so far, and many of them have been able to leave the hospital a day later. And finally, now many people have been lucky enough to witness the Northern Lights in UK skies recently, and one woman in Suffolk thought she'd done just that, only to later find out it was lights from a local tomato factory. 56-year-old cleaner Dee Harrison posted 3 photos to social media of what she thought was the incredible phenomenon, with the caption, "Guess it's the aurora, not seen one before." After attracting hundreds of comments, it was revealed that the beautiful glare actually came from Suffolk Sweet Tomatoes LED light units, which are used to encourage the growth of its stock. After the clarification, Dee told The Independent, "I thought what I could see was the aurora borealis. I was a little disappointed to find out it wasn't, as I thought I had it all for myself." Sorry Dee, here's hoping you get to see the real Northern Lights soon. You're up to date. Come back at 4 PM for the Standard podcast. And for all the latest news and analysis, head to standard.co.uk. Tech and Science Daily will be back on Monday at 1 PM. Have a great weekend.